Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is Doreen Cumberford with Nomadic Diaries. Today, I am recording a very tiny, short podcast on the subject of the 10 Commandments to returning and resettling without dialing down your adventure. Now, this is on the subject of repatriation. When you are living overseas as either a short or a long-term expatriate, you frequently find yourself returning back home. And so these are just a few of the 10 Commandments of what you shall or thou shall or shall not do when you return home that will help your cultural, your emotional, your physical, your spiritual journey back into your native culture. Number 1, thou shalt not expect things at home to have stayed the same. I think frequently when we return home as expatriates, we're shocked. I think mostly the biggest shocks that I record are in the physicality of the place. Like when we were returning from long trips overseas back to Denver, Colorado, there were new apartment buildings, there were new condominiums, there was always great big new structures had been built in the suburbs and into a lot of the open spaces. So thou shalt not expect things to have stayed the same, whether it's structures or any of the systems back home. Number 2, thou shalt be gentle with yourself, your family, and your friends. I think this one also speaks to expectations, because I think we forget that maybe you have left and gone on this fabulous adventure, but because you've been on an adventure where nothing's familiar, everything is novel, your senses have been delighted, overwhelmed, and challenged, and now you're back home again. I think we have that expectation that other people have had a similar experience, and sometimes we can be a bit rough on ourselves and our friends and family as we forget that they have been dealing with similar and familiar situations day in and day out for the time that we were gone. And so I think it's very important to be very kind, very gentle, very considerate of your relationships and all these people that you love back home. Number 3, thou shalt not incessantly talk about how great your life was overseas. Now, I laugh because occasionally I know I've been very guilty of this. It's very easy to draw the contrast. It's very easy to see the differences between the life we lived overseas and then this old life back home again. And it's very easy to contrast and to compare. It's also very easy to slip into stories about, oh, when we lived in Saudi Arabia, such and such and such and such. However, it is not always welcome and it is not always appropriate. And so it's very, it's necessary that we take the time and the sort of the pressure gauge to not talk about the past if possible. Number 4, thou shalt be intentional and make a list of the people with whom you would like to reconnect. You know, it's very easy, especially if you're moving back to the United States of America, which is so large, distances are huge. And the distances seemed to increase while we were gone. There was more traffic. There was, we were further away from our family. It was very difficult to manage the distances. And so it really helps if you can be intentional and say, okay, I plan on reconnecting with these people, A, B, C, and D, or A, B, and C this week. And to make those plans, because it's only by being intentional that we can recreate a sense of belonging, that we can rebuild our identities where we belong, and that we can build those connections which we need as humans to sustain ourselves. Number 5, thou shalt not fuss, fret, nor freak out. And how easy it is to do any of the above. Fretting, fussing, freaking out about things back home that you are so disenchanted with, take up lots of energies, and that energy really could be used to rebuilding wonderful new relationships, friendships, and gaining momentum. And yet it's easy to react. It's easy to react to the excessive consumerism. It's easy to react to the grand distances. It's easy to react to the impersonalization of society. It's easy to react in so many levels. So when we notice ourselves, and I speak to myself, when I notice myself fussing or fretting or freaking out about something, I know it's time to be quiet, to set myself aside, to apply some deep thinking, and just take a great big breath. Number 6, thou shalt not jump back into the old rat race from whence you left off. Number 1, it's impossible to do so. You can never go back. It will never be like the way it was before. Number 2, it will not be valuable to think about the past and relate it to the present, because there has been so much change, and sometimes we are unaware of the changes. We don't have a good handle of what our friends and family and our colleagues have been through these last years. And so making an attempt to just jump right back into it can be very disorienting, and in a way dishonors your adventurous spirit. Number 7, thou shalt not insist on keeping every last treasure you brought back home. Now I've lived in the Middle East twice, the first for 4 to 5 years, the second time for 15 years. And yes, I want to hold on to that part of the world. And do I need everything? No. And does it serve me to cart all the stuff around the world? No, it does not. I think being very measured and discerning about maintaining the pieces and the treasures that truly tell your story. What are the bits that are meaningful and for you, and exciting and important, that you need to keep? And saving those, using those, and cherishing those. And then sharing and giving away the rest. Number 8, I think one of the most important: thou shalt not give up on adventure and shrink back to your old life. Number 1, your old life can no longer contain you. Your old life is no longer just waiting there like a bicycle for you to get on and ride it again. There's going to be so much change, so much has passed. People have changed, places have changed, circumstances, technology has changed, that it can be very tempting for a while to say, oh, well, that was my old life, that was my adventure, and the adventure is over. However, finding the juice, finding the excitement, and finding the joy is always going to be where you look for a new adventure. So thou shalt not give up on adventure. Number 9, thou shalt take care of yourself. You deserve help and support, and you deserve to build a transition team to get you from where you were to your new place. You also deserve to have friends who understand, who can accompany you on this journey. You also deserve help and support in every form that you are aware of, that you can ask for. And so it's important to nurture yourself exactly where you find yourself. Number 10, thou shalt create an amazing new life adventure. This is the most important part of returning home. If you return home and feel like you wrap up your life and put it in a box and put it up on the shelf, then you don't have the same kind of results as we get when we go, okay, this is going to be new and different and novel, and how can I keep this fresh and alive so that I love the life I'm living? So those are your 10 commandments to returning and resettling well without dialing down your adventure. I'll go over them one more time. Thou shalt not expect things at home to have stayed the same. Thou shalt be gentle with yourself, your friends, and your family. Thou shalt not incessantly talk about how great your life was overseas. Thou shalt be intentional and make a list of the people with whom you would like to reconnect. Thou shalt not fuss, fret, or freak out. Thou shalt not jump back into the rat race where you left off. Thou shalt not insist on keeping every last treasure you brought back. Thou shalt not give up on adventure and shrink into your old life. Thou shalt take care of yourself, and thou shalt create an amazing new life adventure right back home. My name is Doreen Cumberford. I am a podcast host and a coach and an author. And these are just some thoughts that I have on the subject of the 10 Commandments to returning and resettling after living overseas. Yes, it's a recovery process, and I would like to wish you the best of success in this journey. If you enjoy these mini podcasts in the National Podcasting Promotion Month, please give us a like and share and subscribe and comment. Thank you so much for your listening today. Bye-bye.